All right, let's talk about the toughest game you'll ever play. Nope, it's not against your biggest rival. It's the one that's happening right between your ears. Today, we're diving into a system for mastering that game inside your head.
So, you've heard all the mental performance advice, right? Just be tough, stay positive. It all kind of starts to sound the same, doesn't it? But what if that generic rah-rah advice is actually part of the problem?
Okay, so let's look at the difference here. On one side, you've got the old school stuff. Push through it, ignore mistakes. But the MPS approach, it's totally different. It's not about just being tough, it's about being skillful. Instead of ignoring a mistake, you see it as information. And instead of just powering through a bad feeling, you learn how to actually regulate it. It's a massive shift.
And this quote is the absolute core of it. Performance breakdowns, when you choke under pressure, they aren't about a lack of effort. It's not a character flaw. It's a system overload. Think about that. The problem isn't you, it's the system inside you getting overwhelmed. That changes everything, because if it's a system, you can learn to manage it. So that brings us to what's called the hidden game. It's about getting way beyond just mental toughness and looking at what's really going on under the hood.
And here it is. This is the machinery of that hidden game. Your performance isn't just one thing, it's driven by these 5 core abilities that are all talking to each other. You've got your emotions, right? The initial alarm bells. Then there's attention. Basically, where's your focus? After that comes cognition. That's the story you're telling yourself about what's happening. Then you have interoception, which is a fancy word for listening to your body's signals, like a pounding heart. And all of that leads to your behavior, the actual action you take. It's all connected. So what happens when the pressure hits? Well, any one of those 5 things can get knocked off balance. And since they're all linked, if your attention goes, your emotions might freak out, which creates a crazy story, and boom, the whole thing collapses. That's system overload. It's not you failing. It's the system failing. It's a mechanical issue, not a moral one. Huge difference.
All right, so if performance is a system, then the solution has to be a system too, not just a random list of tips and tricks.
Yeah, I love this quote. The system is serious, not because it's super complicated, but because it's coherent. Everything fits together. Every skill has a purpose and a place. It's a real, thought-out framework.
Just take a look at this system map. See? It's not a list of stuff to do. It's a cycle. It's designed to show how the skills literally hand off to one another. It's a continuous loop. So no matter where your system starts to break down, there's an entry point to get back on track.
And this is so important. The skills are not one size fits all. You can't just pick one at random. Each tool has a very specific job. Like, if you're hit with a sudden wave of emotion, you use the stop skill. If your attention is drifting, that's a job for the mindfulness reset. If you're stuck replaying a mistake over and over in your head, that's when you need rumination recovery. Specific problems, specific tools. Okay, so you've got this whole toolkit, but how do you know which tool to pull out? Well, that's where we move from theory to action, from understanding the system to actually using it to diagnose and fix problems. Think about it like the dashboard in your car. When a warning light flicks on, you don't just floor it and hope it goes away, right? Of course not. You look down, you read the light. Is it the engine? Oil pressure? You figure out the specific problem. This system teaches you to read your internal dashboard just like that. And here's a fantastic real-world example of that. Let's say an athlete is getting stuck in what's called a distorted story. You know, that negative self-talk, like, I blew it again, or I always mess this up. The old school coach might just yell, hey, focus. But a coach using this system can actually diagnose the problem, that's a distorted story, and then prescribe the exact fix. And the fix itself is so practical. Step 1, you just spot the story. You recognize that negative thought for what it is. Step 2, you swap it for a grounded alternative. So instead of I blew that set, it becomes my toss drifted behind me. Fixable. That word fixable is magic. It takes all the drama out and turns it into a simple technical problem. Then step 3 is easy. Redirect to the very next action. Toss in front. Done. It's a clean, repeatable process. But what if the problem isn't a story in your head? What if it's something outside of you, like a bad call from the ref? Well, that's a different warning light, so you need a different tool. This one is all about radical acceptance. You're not fighting reality, you're just accepting it and moving on. Again, the system helps you match the right tool to the right problem. So, we've seen these individual tools. Now let's see how they all chain together to create the full reset sequence when things really go sideways.
This is how you get all the way back to a state of composure, step by step. It starts with STOP. That creates a tiny pause. That pause is just enough time for mindfulness to kick in and steady your focus. Now that you're steady, you can use optimism to reframe the story. Then radical acceptance helps you let go of the frustration. You break that mental replay loop with rumination recovery, and you anchor yourself emotionally with connection. And the amazing part is, this whole sequence can happen in the few seconds between plays.
So when you put it all together, what does it mean? Well, it means you can finally start mastering your inner game. Really, what this system gives you is a new kind of literacy, a way to read the game inside your head. You're no longer just reacting or trying to force yourself to be calm. Instead, you're learning to read the signals and respond with skill, not just brute force. And maybe this is the most powerful idea of all. It's not about being perfect. It's not about never messing up. It's about learning how to return. That's the real skill, knowing exactly how to get yourself back on track, point after point after point. Look, what we've talked about here is just a glimpse. If you're ready to get past the generic advice and build real, practical mental skills, you can get the entire system. There are books for athletes, for coaches, and even for parents. Just head over to flowmpc.com or find them on Amazon to get the full toolkit.